Sir Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer.
The worst appointment in modern political history. Keir Starmer choosing Peter Mandelson as US ambassador.
Many people love him. Others love to hate him. But to us, he's just
Peter.
Alright then, fuck it. Let's have a go. A video that I didn't think I'd ever make on this channel, but I think it's shown my advanced age. You've seen the title. Today we're talking about Keir Starmer. You're wondering why I'm attacking, why I'm making this video on the UK Prime Minister. Now, he is on the verge, I hope, on the verge of resignation. Because of this man, Peter Mandelson. The big issue is Peter Mandelson got hired, and you'll probably heard it if you're watching this, you'll already know all this shit. Peter Mandelson was hired to be our ambassador to the United States to come in when Donald Trump came back in because they had links. They knew each other from before. So they thought that someone with the history like Mandelson would be the best person to deal with Donald Trump. That was all we got Peter Mandelson in for. That was the issue. The problem with this is Peter Mandelson had already been sacked twice, not once, twice, or asked to resign, however you want to fucking put it. He was sacked, lost his job for lying and for potential spying. He's had links with Russia and China, but the main one of all of this is he was best buddies with the now dead paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Before all of the Epstein files came out that the Trump administration released, it was already well known in bulk that Mandelson had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. It was also known that Mandelson continued his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein after he'd been arrested for child trafficking. After being announced a paedophile, basically. He kept friends. So what did Starmer do? Starmer looked at all this and went, "Oh, well, I think that it will be perfect to get him in. I think he'll work fantastic. Everyone won't think about the past." It's like, no, mate, we're not fucking stupid. You are, but we're not. What happened? It blew up in his fucking face. So Mandelson was sacked in September 2025. We're still in April 2026, and we've still got all this shit going on because at the end of the day, it's basically what's happening in the UK government at the minute. It's came out, Mandelson failed the vetting process. Any civil servant, when they want to join government and all this shit like this, or any MP, they have to, a high power, basically, position, you have to have vetted. So you have to have your finances, you have to have your personal life, you have to have every aspect of your life has to be completely fucking done. Your internet history, the lot, they'll have it all, which I'm surprised, given Mandelson's history, you know. I'm a bit not shocked of why he failed the vetting. But that's what all this shit started. Mandelson failed the security vetting to become the ambassador. But there was a twist. So Mandelson still became the UK ambassador to the United States after failing the security vetting. Because there was a special thing put in by this gentleman here. Well, this gentleman's taken all the shit for it. Let me just clear up. Ollie Robbins is the Permanent Under-Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs of the United Kingdom. Now, I have been watching today, which we're going to react to now, all of the shit, the fallout of today, because basically, right now, on Monday, the 20th of April, Keir Starmer has been dragged to Parliament. He has, even though it came out last fucking Tuesday, that he'd failed the vetting, that Mandelson had failed the vetting, because MPs wanted to know, how the hell did he get past it all? Starmer then came out and said that the civil servants didn't tell him that he failed the vetting, and there was a discretionary put in place so that Mandelson could pass the vetting in disregards of all of the dodgy shit that he has been in. Like, mate, like, what the fuck? Also on record, very, 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 very known to everyone who follows this, that Keir Starmer wanted Mandelson. That's what I said at the start of the video. He desperately wanted Mandelson because he wanted Mandelson to come in and be his man. Also, Morgan McSweeney. If you don't understand what all this is, I would recommend going to watch it because I'm probably not the person to tell you. I'm just trying to give you background best way I can put it together. So Morgan McSweeney was basically Starmer's chief advisor. As far as it came out now, McSweeney was kind of running the government, and Starmer was just the face of it. McSweeney was making all of the decisions. Starmer was just the one who would stand there, and we all fucking couldn't stand. Basically, like when Boris was in, and Dominic Cummings was the guy. They all seem to have this guy who seems to secretly run it in the background, and then they are just the face. I don't know what it is. I'm struggling to understand. I thought if you're the Prime Minister, you're supposed to have a pair of balls, or man or woman, you know what I mean? And fucking you're the leader. But I'm guessing that we just keep getting weak people in charge of our country. Like, it's a bit crazy, you know? So anyway, so McSweeney got sacked. He's gone. Completely gone. He had to take the brunt of it because it was according to him, he was the supporter of Mandelson. So McSweeney, gone. McSweeney was also the main person, by the way. Let me just clear up. McSweeney was the main person who was behind Keir Starmer even becoming the new leader of Labour after Jeremy Corbyn back in, I think it was like 2018. So McSweeney had like a massive say in everything Labour and this new Labour approach and all this shit. The point of today, now I've given you a bit of background. Basically, there's been calls from every aspect of the realm that Keir Starmer should resign. Now, Keir Starmer he had the Scottish Labour First Minister come out, I think it was 2 months ago when it first broke that Mandelson was all over the Epstein files, basically then to resign. But Starmer, being the absolute amazing patriot he is, and thinks that everyone loves him, and thinks that we all adore him, went against it. And he said, no, I'm never ever going to resign on all this shit. And ignored it. Ignored the public's cry. And by the way, let me just clear up before everyone turns around and goes, people comment underneath and go, oh, well, you're obviously just anti-Labour and all this shit like that. It's not to do with politics. I couldn't care less. I'm very interested in politics. I have disagreed with a lot of what Starmer's done. But when you're this out of touch with society and with reality, I live in the part of the UK I live was heavily Labour. Everyone I knew, my family, Christ, all of them were Labour. Now, no, we're not touching it. Wouldn't go near it. And I am just against the policies. That is just me being realistic. That's not me hating on anyone or whatever. I just don't agree with the policies to start with anyway. I think the policies are damaging the country, but that's a whole different story. We're not here for that. Starmer had it where he was supposed to resign 2 months ago. He came out and he said with his last breath, I will never resign.
I will never walk away from the mandate I was given.
And everyone was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then you had David Lammy, who's our Deputy Prime Minister, walking so sluggishly because they've waited for so long to get in.
Lammy, is it time for the PM to go?
Waited 14 years to get here. No.
Well, it's like, mate, at the end of the day, you're causing scandal after scandal. This is what was put to Starmer today. I'll show you this clip before we watch the rest of today. So, back in 2022, Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Boris Johnson, in 2021, I think it was, there was the Partygate scandal, where basically, during all the lockdowns for COVID, Boris Johnson held a party with all the MPs at Downing Street. It was a massive scandal when everyone was supposed to not be talking to each other and close to everyone and all this shit. He had to resign over that because it had been, basically, he had misled Parliament, all this crap. Like, it's a very serious shit what he had to do, and he had to resign. Completely right. Starmer said at the time, never ever put party, personal, basically put you, the Prime Minister, before country.
Prime Minister resorting to lies.
The Prime Minister lied. He lied to this country.
If he misled Parliament, he must resign.
It's no good him trying to blame politicians in general. There's one person at the centre of this.
Look, there are only two possible explanations. Either he's trashing the ministerial code, or he's claiming he was repeatedly lied to by his own advisors. Come off it.
The public have made up their mind. I think the facts speak for themselves. He then lied about what had happened.
The Prime Minister lied. I genuinely think now that it's in the national interest that he goes.
The ministerial code says that ministers who knowingly mislead the House should resign.
He's been accused of misleading Parliament because he said it back in February that that Peter Mandelson went through all of the vetting process and passed with flying colours, and every single test was done, and we have to be certain of that. And then it just came out last week. Peter Mandelson didn't pass all the vetting things in the slightest. There was a special thing a special motion put through to let him become the fucking ambassador. Mate, are we crazy? So anyway, so now it's came back on that Starmer has to resign. Everyone said today Starmer has to resign no matter what. No matter what. And I do completely agree. I think he has to go. I think it's the best thing for this country if that man gets his ass out of 10 Downing Street, because I think his way of doing things, his untouched with the public, his complete disregard of any shit that he's done is a mess. So let's watch today. I've got it here.
I should not have appointed Peter Mandelson. I take responsibility for that decision, and I apologise again to the victims of the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, who were clearly failed by my decision. Mr. Speaker, last Tuesday evening, the 14th of April, I found out for the first time that on the 29th of January 2025, before Peter Mandelson took up his position as ambassador, the Foreign Office officials granted him developed vetting clearance against the specific recommendation of the United Kingdom security vetting that developed vetting clearance should be denied.
So what he's saying there is, again, basically, he didn't know. That's what he's saying. Prime Minister of the United Kingdom has wanted to hire someone who's been sacked twice. This, by the way, I'd say to you, any company in the world, if someone's been sacked from said company, it's exactly the same company, by the way, the Labour Party. Imagine you've been sacked twice, and then they go, yeah, come back. It's all right. You're obviously fine. There was obviously reasons, man. It happens. He's now saying that he has no clue, no clue at all, numpois. He didn't have a clue. Any of it happened, and we'll go on to watch. Everyone's going, well, did you never ever think to any point through this process go, so how did it get on? How's it going? But instead, no. What Starmer did, Starmer announced that Mandelson was the ambassador before the vetting was even complete. So now people are thinking, shit. Put two and two together realistically, and it could be the case. I wouldn't put it past this slime ball. Did something happen behind the scenes where it came out that Mandelson was going to fail the vetting, and then he, as something to do with number 10, said, we want him no matter what? That's a whole different ballgame, because that's scary shit. That's ignoring all the rules and getting someone who's, like I said, had ties to Russia and China and Epstein, and just ignoring all of the security threats, which is a national security threat, by the way. We're just going to gloss over that as well, and let him in one of our highest, to our greatest ally in the world.
It is information that I and the House have the right to know. Mr. Speaker, I know many members across the House will find these facts to be incredible. To that,
you know what I mean? It's just completely taking the piss. Like, he's just looking at them and going, I don't give a fuck what you think. And he keeps saying he's sorry. But no, I just don't agree with it. Whoever he was, I couldn't care less. It's now to do with personal preference. Personal preference, yeah, I don't like him. But you're telling me that someone this corrupt, you've let in your government, and then you still haven't followed him. Mate, for starters, if you've got a brain cell, like I said, you don't have anyone like that in. But if you're going to insist on having them in, guess what? You're fucking going to have hawks on them. He was told that it would have the potential, if it went wrong with Mandelson, it would be a reputation nightmare, because it would destroy Starmer's career. And Starmer went, I don't care, I'll get over it. Because he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit what you think, what I think, what anyone thinks. He doesn't give a shit. She doesn't give a shit, because she's just as bad. And I don't even know what the fuck his mindset is, because he doesn't have a fucking clue what's going on. He just sits there. Earlier on today, there you've got Lammy, who's in the background winking at someone in the gallery whilst this critical fucking thing's going on. He's there like, all right, mate, how you doing? You all right? And you know the maddest part is, until there was a new leader decided, if Starmer steps down, he's our fucking Prime Minister. And it's just like, oh my God. Like, they're all like fucking crazy. I just think it's mad. We go from people getting arrested for posting shit online to then he's allowed to let some ex-friend of a paedophile and spy go into the fucking government. Like, it's like, what the fuck? If you hold the same to account, then technically you should be going inside, but you know you'll never see a fucking cell, will you? Because public prosecutions let one of the biggest scandals go past him ever Now this as well, and it also slipped past him. You were the Chief Crown Prosecution Service. You were made a sir because of it. Yeah, you've had 2 big blunders, mate. Like, not just small ones, fucking disasters.
To that, I can only say they are right. It beggars belief that throughout the whole timeline of events, officials in the Foreign Office saw fit to withhold this information from the most senior ministers in our system in government.
He's full of shit. They didn't. I'm sorry, I don't care. They just didn't. It was never said. You're telling me that the Prime Minister never ever knew, and if someone walks in the door with a high position, what the Prime Minister doesn't know? Is it just like some shitty business where the owner just pumps all the money in and then doesn't know half the staff and then he just has no relationship with them? Fuck off. He twists it for whatever way he can fucking play it. That's how Starmer works. That's how they all work. They're all bastards. Right, so here we've got Sir Ed Davey, the leader of the Liberal Democrats. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things that Ed Davey does as well that I just don't agree with in his policies and Liberal Democrats and stuff. But I actually agree with him on this one, to be honest with you. So listen to what he's got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's 2022 all over again. Back then, when he stood on this side of the House, it was Boris Johnson who was accused of misleading Parliament and scapegoating senior officials. The then Leader of the Opposition couldn't have been clearer. The public need to know, he said, that not all politicians are the same, that not all politicians put themselves above their country, and that honesty, integrity and accountability matter. So he promised change, Mr. Speaker. He promised to break the cycle and stop the chaos. And he promised a government with, and I quote, more focus on long-term strategy, not the short-term distractions that can animate Westminster. I'm afraid the fact that he even had to make the statement today shows how badly he has failed, how badly he has let down the millions of people across our country who are so desperate for change. He blames his officials. He says he had no idea.
So you know what the scary part is even what he's saying here, like it's panned on to Starmer, and Starmer's just looking like he doesn't really know how to react to it. Like, look at his face. Like, it's not like he doesn't know how to react. It's almost like, you know what, right? And it sounds really daft, but it's like he agrees. Like, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think there's a bit of him where he goes, there's an arrogance, but I think, you know, yeah, I'm fucking shit. But I just think he's, I don't know. It was weird, this exchange, because people are saying it, and he's not usually like, I don't know, he just looks a bit, I don't know. I think he's going to, I think it's coming.
He says he had no idea. He gives every impression of a Prime Minister in office, but not in power. The facts remain, even on his own account. The Prime Minister appointed Peter Mandelson as ambassador to the United States, even after he had been warned about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Exactly, people are forgetting about this part. Like, this was still a massive thing. Starmer was warned, as well as common sense, which I will, again, cannot stipulate enough. If you've been sacked from somewhere twice, do you think that it's right that you are then rehired by same company for the third fucking time? I think that even hiring him the second time is stupid, especially in fucking politics. But then to do it the third time? Either way, he was warned. He also knew his past. He still completely chose to ignore it. So whether the fucking security vetting or not, you could talk about all the security vetting in the world, but what about your own competence? What about your own common sense? You're talking about all these processes and oh my God, I wasn't told this shit. But you could also be the one who says, right, you know what? No. Someone warned you straight away. This could backfire in your face. Oh, fuck, I don't want to do that. Why would I want that?
Back in 2022, the Prime Minister rightly accused Boris Johnson of expecting others to take the blame while he clung on. Yeah. That was not acceptable then, and it's not acceptable now. So I hope the Prime Minister can at least tell the House this, and we'll be listening very carefully to his answer. Was he given advice by Simon Case, the then Cabinet Secretary, that the necessary security clearances should be acquired before he confirmed his choice for US Ambassador? And did he follow that advice? Yes or no? Mr. Speaker, after the years of chaos under...
Exactly, so I'm guessing, I'm trying to work it out, but what Ed's aiming at more so is that when he's basically been told this is a bad move, this will probably blow up in your face, has Starmer then just completely went, nah, it's all right, doesn't matter? Because he announced it before the vetting was even done.
We needed a government focused on the interests of the people, the cost of living crisis, the health and care crisis, our national security. We needed a government of honesty, integrity and accountability. So will the Prime Minister finally accept that the only way he can help to deliver that is to resign?
Prime Minister.
I'd love that to be the case. I'd love now more than to see his shitty ass fucking stood outside Downing Street. The end of this. You know, his little hand gestures things he does. I hate that. I hate this crap where he goes like this. Or, let me be clear. Wait, let me be clear. And then he tells you, like, the biggest bullshit ever. Like, that is the Starmer thing.
Dame Diane Abbott. Sorry, Diane Abbott.
See, this was mad, right? So we're now on to, obviously, for some reason, Politics Joe, they are a very specific based YouTube channel, but I wanted the highlights. They've missed all of Kemi's questions because Kemi it's not right what they've done here, but basically Kemi, who was in charge of the Conservatives, she put 6 questions because Keir Starmer's got this delightful way of doing things where he doesn't answer a single fucking question you ask him. So she made a point today. She said it was the first time unprecedented that she's actually sent Keir her questions so that he can't wander off, so he can't defer from the points that she's given. And the questions were all phenomenal. They were really good questions, and he actually had to answer them, and he didn't have a fucking clue what to do because it was quite smart by her, to be honest with you. I give her full props for it because I think for too long, like, PMQs is every Wednesday, and Starmer doesn't answer a single question every week. Like, I was actually saying to my grandma, I taught my grandma about it, and I said that if it was actually up to me, if I was on the opposition, I would make a point of just going, what's the fucking point of us being here? Like, it's just, what is the point? Because he's never going to answer anything. So the fact that she did that, if he then went off the record today and just changed the track, mate, you have the questions in front of you, and then you're going to try and say that wasn't what I was asked. Well, they're right there. So I think it was quite smart by Kemi. But anyway, so we're now talking about Diane Abbott. Diane Abbott she's always been a bit of a fun character, shall we say. She was very high in Corbyn's era. She's been critical of Starmer before, and now she's back to, for the first time, on the left side of the benches. So this is Starmer's side, all this. First time we see someone actually speak up against Mr. Keir.
The Prime Minister has gone on at considerable length about process and procedure, but ordinary people don't really care about process and procedure. They want transparency, and they want to know that they can have confidence in the words of elected politicians, like all of us in this chamber. On the question of Peter...
See, I think this, like, even that, sorry, I know I'm just picking at it, but like this, like, she's fucking talking to you, she's on your side. Fucking look at her. Look at her, turn your head.
On the question of Peter Mandelson, it was in the 90s that Peter Mandelson had to resign from the cabinet for the first time because of his dealings with the millionaire Geoffrey Robinson. It was a few years later he had to resign for the cabinet for the second time because of his relationships with the billionaire Hinduja family. Peter Mandelson has a history.
You know what I mean?
Peter Mandelson has a history. And what this House wants to know is why, knowing Peter Mandelson's history, going back now 30 years, and given what has been known, it's one thing to say, as he insists on saying, nobody told me. Nobody told me anything. Nobody told me. The question is, why didn't the Prime Minister ask?
See what I mean? that is when that's scary shit, because it's known fact that when your side is supposed to, no matter what, they're supposed to be the bullshit. Like, even if they disagree, he did it last time. So when he was supposed to resign 2 months ago, he's the bullshit side of where he'll say to them, just back us, let it blow over. But there was many times, and Diane Abbott was the first, absolutely smashed. She fucking smashed that to pieces. And I think that no matter who the boss is, the Prime Minister, if you don't trust him, or if you've got a question and you think, because we don't know how he is actually as their leader. We don't know if he responds to them. We don't know if he actually responds to questions they have and all this shit. So maybe it gets to the point where they have to fucking just call it as it is. And I fully support that. I think that is massive respect to that. Any one of these today who came out against him, I like that. And he didn't know how to respond.
Mr. Speaker, in relation to her question, let me be clear.
But see the two robots here.
I should not have appointed Peter Mandelson. As soon as the further revelations came to light, I asked the Cabinet Secretary to review the process so I could be assured about the process. He wrote to me on the 16th of September, setting out the conclusions of that review and assuring me the process had been followed properly.
She just said she just said, the public don't care about the fucking process. That was her point. Stop talking about the process. What did you do? His answer, he mentioned the word process 3 times. He doesn't know what to do. He's a fucking barrister. His job for years was to be paid to bullshit, defend people who were definitely guilty. Like, his thing was always to bullshit stories, but stories of evidence. That is all Starmer is. Not even evidence of facts, whether they're true, whether they're false. He has to build a story that people believe, but never of his story. It's everyone else's story. So this here, if you notice what he does, he deflects a lot, because that's all he knows how to do. All he knows how to do is, well, she did this, she did this, she did this. Why did he do this? Why did no one tell me? Because he's never had to be in a position where he's had to do the fucking, I'm the boss. It stops with me. He's always just been. And he was, like I said, he was the Crown Prosecution Service, and one of the biggest scandals ever went past his fucking nose. He's weak. Very, very weak. Just a weak man. I think we're laughed at on the world stage, but that's a whole different story.
Now, on this side of the House, at least, to my honourable friend...
So this was John McDonnell. This is another, again, as it says, another Labour person.
And many will appreciate his apology today. But many of us will remain bewildered still why that appointment took place, despite the warnings that many of us gave him. And isn't the reality this, that when he sought to realise his ambition to become leader of the Labour Party, with very little base within the party, he became dependent on McSweeney and Mandelson and Labour together to organise, fund his election. And that when he became Prime Minister, the reward for McSweeney was control of Number 10, and for Mandelson, the highest diplomatic office. And the message, the unspoken message to civil servants was, what Mandelson wants, Mandelson gets. This has damaged the party that I've been a member of for 50 years. I urge him.
See, did you hear that? That's them responding at the front.
This toxic culture out of our party, and take the first step by having an independent inquiry into Labour together.
See, it puts him in a weird spot. That was them responding. That's what they were kicking off at there, because they're responding to him. But if you think about it, basically what he's just said there, which if you put 2 and 2 together, so Morgan McSweeney, like I said, was basically the person who helped get Keir as the leader after Corbyn. Basically pushed him in. He was behind Labour Together, this new Labour movement where they basically had to fix the brand after the Corbynism fucked up. If you think about it, it's basically someone who's just covered his mate's back. Morgan McSweeney was very close with Peter Mandelson, always had been. He was one of the people who wanted Mandelson in and told Starmer to get him in. There was Starmer, McSweeney and Mandelson. Wes Streeton, which no one's talking about again, the health secretary, he even admitted that Mandelson was more like a heads up, like he was someone who nurtured him. So Mandelson is all over these, like all over them. The only people who won't say anything is all these fuckers on the front bench, because all of them none of them. There's the ones that we know we don't like because they're all shit, and then the ones that we don't know is exactly that because they're pointless and also shit. So they know that the second that there's a chance where the public are going to have a say about this, guess what, mate? All of them are gone. And I understand if some of you watching this are Labour supporters. You can completely support whoever you like, trillion%. Whatever. That's why I make it a point of saying, Christ, when the Tories were in, the exact same. I don't have, really, at the minute, I don't really have a party that I follow and go, oh my God, yeah. All I know is that Starmer's bad for this country. That's all I know. That's from what I read, what I see, what I hear him talk, how I see we're looked at on the world stage and all this shit. I think he's just, these three are the worst things that has happened to us in a long time. But yeah, I think it's all very, very strange. Very strange.
Prime Minister will know full well that he would never, ever deliberately mislead this House. But the reality is this, Mr. Speaker, ex post facto vetting is utterly pointless when the appointment is political. And the trouble, Mr. Speaker, that we all face is that trust in the Prime Minister and in politics is diminishing as this sorry saga continues. So in the 17 days we have leading to those very important elections, never mind question, those very important elections, what does the Prime Minister propose to do to win back the trust of the country?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker.
That's the thing. They've also got the May elections. So basically the May elections is the local council elections where they're basically classed as the midterm for any political party that's currently in obviously in the government at the time. Labour are on course to absolutely get battered. But the maddest part is, right, so listen to this. So Labour are expected to lose 990 councils. That is, they were on 2,321 when they went into power. They're expected to be left with 1,331. Reform are expected to go from 67 to 1,210. So Reform are going to get them. Then they've also got the issue of the Green Party is getting bigger. So they're going to be taking the votes as well. The Conservatives, weirdly, are actually going to lose. Okay, anyway. But, mate. But so this is what I'm saying. So for a long time, it was expected that the plan was that they were going to keep Starmer going. They were going to keep him to basically be the face. So when next month's elections come round, they get absolutely slapped about. That's when Starmer steps down. That's what's been the rumbles for since all this Mandelson shit first came out. But I think it puts you in a position now where if they put it on the May elections, this could be a reason why they do so poor, and it could even look even worse for Labour, the fact that they don't get him out. So if you want your May elections to do better, you're going to have to change all this shit, because if you keep stammering for them elections, mate, you're going to get slapped terribly.
Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The problem the Prime Minister's got is no one believes him. The public don't believe him. The MPs on this side of the House don't believe him. His own gullible backbenchers don't believe him. So does the Prime Minister agree with me? He's been lying.
The issue is, obviously, people don't understand. You're not allowed to say the word lying, and you're not allowed to accuse someone of lying in the House of Commons. Hence why, straight away, Starmer is not even fucking looking to give the answer. He knows that that's not supposed to happen, and they're all looking. Look, they're all looking.
We don't use those words, and I'm sure the members withdrawn it.
Mr. Speaker, I have the greatest respect for you and your office, but I will not withdraw. That man couldn't lie straight in bed.
That man couldn't lie straight in bed. I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Mr. Anderson, you'll have to leave.
That's it. I'm happy to leave it there, to be honest with you. But I just wanted to get that in because I thought it was quite funny. But yeah, I think that's right. What do you guys think? Let me know. I am on the absolute. To me, I wanted Starmer gone. To be honest with you, I never wanted Starmer in the first place. So I know that some people will go, and I know some people will watch this and go, mate, you can just tell you just don't like Labour. Again, like I've said, I actually have no set political party that I like. I have voted Labour since I've been able to vote. I've been able to vote 3 times. I've voted Labour, I've voted Conservative, and then the last election, I didn't vote. Simple as that. I didn't think anyone had it. I felt the Conservatives completely ruined it, and there's something about Keir I didn't like anyway. But yeah, just let me know what you guys think down below. I hope, give it a week and he's gone. I do, and I hope he takes Lammy and fucking Reeves with him as well. But I've got this awful feeling that he's going to somehow just smell the gaff out and not leave. But the difference with him today was when he had the calls to resign back in February, he made like this big like bullish response of, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I am not going until that elections. But today was different. He looked like shit. I might have to go. So I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes. Wouldn't surprise me if he stays. I don't know of him. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think down below. Tell me if you agree. Tell me not. Tell me your views. Tell me if you think Starmer should go. Should he stay? Do you think he was right? Do you think he was wrong? Do you think he's handled it well? Do you think he hasn't? And as always, please leave a like, smash, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.